You are listening to the Gentleman Scofflaw podcast. Listener beware.
Rise and shine, the liquor store is open. I ain't got time for moping. I best be on my way. Well, I still got time to save my reputation. Time to go day drinking in this dirty little town.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Gentleman Scofflaw live stream. Sorry that cut off kind of quickly. This is all a new sort of setup for us. Hopefully, we're going to get this a little bit tighter in the future.
Our live band just decided to stop playing.
Yeah, just decided to stop
like
playing.
They were just like, nope, that's it.
And we got
That's all you paid us for.
Donovan Fowler right here. This is all a new thing. We got some new toys. Yep. We're learning how to live stream and use all this fancy streaming equipment.
Now you can see our ugly mugs to go with these.
I am just going to
voices.
double check because I am not confident with this new system. So bear with me, everybody.
That's what the fans
I want to make sure that it's working for you guys. So let me double check here. So it looks like we are streaming. We are on YouTube. I don't know if there's too much of a delay. If there is, leave that in the comments. We'll make sure we get it fixed in the next one. Also, let me go here. And let's pull up some. Let me see if our chat is working here. We are. It looks like it says it's working fine. All right, perfect, guys. Thank you very much. How's your week this week, Donovan, so far?
Oh man, it's been a hectic week. Just a lot of work, a lot of overtime, but getting back into a place of balance. Gosh, what was the deal? I had my birthday this week.
Oh yeah.
And I spent most of the time at the office, which was fine. It was a Wednesday, so yeah. I won't hold them to that. But yeah, man, saw a pretty good play last night, which is kind of a new thing.
What play was it?
I've been getting into the theater.
The theater.
There's this one theater company off of it's in Hollywood, and they do really, really good productions. And this one was Rope. Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh,
well,
really?
It wasn't the Alfred. I mean, it was the play that Alfred Hitchcock made into a movie.
That's my favorite Hitchcock thing, I think. No,
really?
maybe not. I mean, I like it for what it is. It's not the best movie, but it's cool once you know the story behind it.
It's one of the original oneers. I mean, there are only a few cuts in that movie, and it is. I watched the movie after I saw the play, and I actually was a bigger fan of the movie than I was the play.
Were there any cuts in the play?
Actually, that does make sense because there were no curtains and there was no intermission.
Oh, really? So they tried to do it. They tried to make it work that way.
Yeah. So when you need to go to the bathroom and you're stuck in the middle of the center row, it's not the best situation to be in. No. But whatever.
I hate going to the bathroom in any sort of live situation. That's why I always sit on the ends. No matter what. So I don't have to step over people.
Smart strategy.
Also, if somebody comes in and tries to shoot up the theater, I could be the first one out.
Oh, God. No shielding others with your body for you. Just George Costanza
first
just
one
straight out the door.
Yeah.
You've been making a lot of Seinfeld references lately.
I know. Too many. Speaking of which, your birthday. I've got a little something for you here.
Oh, my goodness.
Happy
this is
birthday.
going to make me feel terrible because your birthday was the first to come around, and I still have your present sitting at home. And I didn't know I was going to be if there's anything that I love more than opening presents in front of a lot of people, it's doing it.
Well, open the card first.
Oh, okay. Where are my manners?
Didn't your mom ever tell you to open your cards first?
I was raised in a barn. I'm sorry. Oh, my goodness. Look at this. Jordan is a magnificent gift giver. He gave me my favorite flask. It is one of the most unique flasks I've ever seen in my life. Here's to a long life and a merry one, a cold beer and another one. I'll drink to that. Happy birthday, buddy. Surprised you made it to this age. You are a gentleman and a scofflaw. Feast day. There we go. That's a little inside joke between the Catholic and the Papist and the Protestant. That could be a podcast on its own.
That should be one of our Patreon.
Whenever we get into any sort of religious discussion, we can talk theology. Oh my goodness, what in the world? tissue paper, I'm sure sounds great on the mic.
Yeah, I'm sure it's great.
Oh my goodness! It's a Yeti. It's a Walmart Yeti beer koozie.
The best kind, because the Walmart has the metal top.
I have been wanting one of these for the last year, ever since I saw yours, and I've been too lazy to buy one.
Well, it's for your simpler times.
Well, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. I would hug you, but I think I'd probably knock over all the microphones and everything, so we'll give ourselves a good Scofflaw handshake. This is fantastic.
Now you got something for all your simpler times and your Budweiser.
Absolutely. Speaking of simpler times, I think I knocked over your simpler times when I was reaching.
I hadn't even cracked it open yet.
That's probably a good thing because I knocked it over.
I'm going to go to our chat for a second, see what people are saying. All right, we've got.
This is fantastic.
Have you joined the Ginger Islamic State cult? Either way, it's a good. It's a good look.
What would be a good name for the Ginger ISIS?
About my new beard.
ISIS.
Yeah, it says, Eric Butler says, I know being a redhead myself. Me too, Paul. Oh, we're just a bunch of gingers on this
You're like a half redhead, bro.
Today.
You're literally like, it's just your beard.
like I call my hair coloring like a bomb pop because it goes red to white to, it's not blue, but it's another color.
It's the most disgusting bomb pop you'd
disgusting
see
one
during
you
the
ever
summer.
See. All right. You know what? I forgot to get my pipe going here. So while I load this,
load it up.
I'm going to bring up this news story, which was just happened since my birthday. I think it came out on my birthday. Taco Bell voted #1 Mexican restaurant in the country.
I saw who tweeted about that. Who was the person who tweeted about that? Somebody was making a big deal about that, and I was like, well, to be fair, 2:00 in the morning when you have nowhere else to go, Taco Bell's always there.
And I feel like there are other places in the country that don't have Mexican food or good Mexican food.
Isn't that a funny thing that, like, I was talking to my dad and my grandparents about that and how when they were younger, or I guess around the age of the baby boomers, it was still it was a strange thing for like Mexican restaurants and things like that to be like coming to your neighborhood because it just wouldn't have been common. I mean, when you think about it.
So it's like it was like considered like, I guess it was considered like international food or something at the time. Now it's like just like regular.
Yeah, it was considered more exotic. I would think. Yeah, now it is. But the funny thing is that still a lot of people, voting Taco Bell to be the #1. It's like it is kind of hard to. You have to kind of really try to find the good Mexican restaurants.
Yeah.
Or maybe you just need to. I don't know. Maybe you just need to abandon your fear of food poisoning.
What do you guys think? Are you guys fans of Taco Bell here on the chat? Welcome, procrastinating Puma. He says, about time, Jordan. Yeah. The Ginger Cast is what they said we should call.
Well, that doesn't make any sense because I'm not ginger.
That makes no sense. But yeah, do you guys, you guys like Taco Bell, or what's your favorite Mexican restaurant?
Or what's your favorite thing to order off the Taco Bell menu? For me, I will say, I think the best thing Taco Bell has ever done is the Doritos Locos Taco or whatever. And when you combine that with a cheesy gordita crunch, that's like...
I really like their, it's called their, what's it called? It used to be called the Volcano Burrito. And it had their volcano sauce. And I think it's a limited time thing they do like once a year. I don't know if they've brought it back, but...
Sounds about right.
The problem is with Taco Bell, every time that I go, it always seems like a good idea, and I immediately regret it within an hour of going.
Well, I don't know. I think I built up an immunity to Taco Bell at some point, through from like let's say 2014 to mid 2017. I was building up a pretty good immunity. But there was one fateful day where I decided to venture into the Taco Bell breakfast menu.
Yeah.
That did not go well.
No.
And it was like
they had like a weird ranch sauce to their breakfast things.
I don't know what it was, but that was a bad day. That was a really bad day. Oh no, well yeah, bad day. Anyways, Taco Bell, I say, you know what? If people don't like the fact that it's #1 restaurant, then they should try to should work a little harder.
Yeah.
You know, other restaurants should work a little harder because Taco Bell ain't so bad.
This is America, capitalism,
sure.
Free enterprise, competition, right?
Tell me another place where you can get that many tacos for $20. My
People on
God.
the chat here are saying it depends. They go for On the Border, which I like.
Ooh, On the Border
In
is
a
good.
pinch, procrastinating Puma will go to Taco Bell. Eric says, once in a blue moon, I gorged out years ago.
Yeah.
Paul says, Taco Bell just arrived in the UK, avoided it like the plague. Subway makes me chuck after 3 minutes.
Oh, wow.
That must be a UK expression meaning chuck.
Yeah, it means
You
throw
spent some
up.
time with that. That's funny.
vomit.
Have a strange reaction to it unless I'm drunk and it seems to be fine.
It's funny because what's the other one? Deltaco, also known as Del Taco.
Oh, Del Taco. I haven't spent much time there.
I remember I was working near Del Taco and it was super cheap, and it was just like if you forgot your lunch, then you were going to Del Taco, and yeah, I don't know, it's not so bad. I feel like it's not as like sexy as Taco Bell.
I always worry when something's so cheap because, like,
Yeah.
for a while at Taco Bell, it was like you'd go there and you'd get like a 48-cent taco, and I'm like, what could there possibly be? That's like less than 2 gumballs.
Yeah, that's a good point. But to be fair, I mean, gumballs do last quite a while.
Yeah,
Get a lot out of those gumballs. The taco, it's just
that's
like
true.
wham bam, thank you.
Bam, thank you. I'm going to go back to the live chat here. We had some other comments. People seem to forget El Pollo Loco. I like El Pollo Loco a
I
lot.
haven't explored El Pollo Loco
The
the way that I
problem
should.
is
It always
it's
struck me as,
inconsistent.
to me, it struck me, I was always like, that's just Mexican KFC.
Yeah, maybe. But they have burritos and tacos and stuff you can
Of
get
course.
there. But I went into one that I used to go through the drive-through all the time, and then I went in person one day when I had a little time. I was like, I'll go in and I'll sit down and eat it.
Yeah.
Pollo Loco. And it was so disgusting in the restaurant.
Yeah.
I was like, I have no idea what this kitchen is like. I actually didn't eat my food that got brought out to me.
I don't know. You know, the eating inside fast food restaurants, I just don't understand. Like, I don't know if it's because most of the time my family only got fast food when we were on trips, so therefore we only ate it in the car. But yeah, I'm not digging those weird plastic booths and fluorescent lights in some places. It just doesn't. Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing though, Burger King's has stepped up their game. There's one
Really?
right by the car wash I go to there in Burbank on Magnolia, and I went inside. It's all like wood, like fancy wood paneling, and there's like in the morning it's just a bunch of old people. It's like an old people club. I don't know who meets there, but
if only they'd step up their food game.
I know. But
Personally, I find, I think we've talked about this before, but I think, outside of In-N-Out, which is a California thing that most people, it's, In-N-Out. But I like Wendy's.
I do.
Wendy's is just
Wendy's
always a
is good.
reliable burger.
It's always, yeah. I like that they have a lot of cool options. All right, enough about food. Let's go over to the live chat.
Make me
you know what?
hungry.
Before I go over to the live chat, I am smoking my. Now you get to see what it looks like on camera, guys. My Stanwell brushed pipe. This is one of my favorite pipes. It only cost me like $40 on sale, and they're
bad.
on sale right now on Pipes and Cigars. Not a sponsor, but if you want to get one of these, they've got them in every shape and size. And I've got some Lane 1Q also from my little pouch from Pipes and
That
Cigars.
is a great pouch.
And I have got some summertime.
Yeah. Classic.
And I haven't had much for breakfast, guys. So
Nothing
Let's
better
see
on
how
a
it goes.
Saturday. And I'm just drinking water because I'm boring today.
let's see what they're saying over at the chat here. We got let me see. Burger King has chicken fries. That's true. I've never tried that.
Okay, here, just really fast. No, yeah, the chicken fries aren't all that great on their own, and if they ever, they had Cheetos chicken fries, and I was like, well, of course, I have to try that. and wasn't good. Just
No.
was not good.
I couldn't imagine that would be any good.
No. I probably should have just listened to my conscience. Should have listened to little Jiminy Cricket on my shoulder saying, "Don't do it, Donovan."
Let's. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up this next little story here on the web browser. This today, I thought you would find this entertaining, Donovan.
Okay.
The headline
I'll be the judge of that.
was on Film School Rejects, and it's "Don't be fooled. Charles Bronson is not still alive and starring in a Death Wish ripoff."
What?
So there's this guy
Okay.
who's like a Charles Bronson lookalike.
Okay.
He looks very much like him.
Okay.
And there's this chain of movies called Death Kiss.
Okay.
And I'll show you an image of him here, what he looks like. I'm going to switch over to the web browser here. Shamelessly rip off other movies, but this one is the next level.
I'm gonna pose a question here.
And there's a trailer here. We could play it here. I don't know if you guys are going to hear it.
Is this guy Asian?
He could be. I don't know what his ethnicity is, but we'll just play it on mute here so that you can see.
I think authenticity is a new.
You'll see in this trailer.
I see a lot of green screen going on here, or rather blue screen, I think.
Yeah. So he's one. And there's the other Baldwin brother that's not Alec Baldwin playing Alec Baldwin.
Oh
in this.
yeah, it's not Steven, but
Billy maybe?
No,
Billy.
Billy.
Adam.
No, not Adam. Adam's not a Baldwin.
No, not that Adam Baldwin. Daniel Baldwin.
Yes,
Danny Baldwin.
that's it. Daniel Baldwin.
So it's just this complete.
The one who ran through Park Plaza Hotel and screaming, "I'm a Baldwin," while naked.
I'm a Baldwin. I'm a Baldwin. This is pretty pretty blatant.
Well, I mean, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I'm not going to see it.
It's
but,
it's just like, you know, when you
big
go
Charles
to the
Bronson
dollar
fan, I
store or something,
Yes.
and you find someone that's a blatant ripoff. It's like
Yes.
the word is
like
just a little bit off.
Transmorphers,
Yeah,
like when
Transmorphers.
they did that whole series of
Yeah.
like Transformers was coming out, and then they did Transmorphers.
Yeah,
I personally, I'm a huge Charles Bronson fan.
yeah.
And I just recently, I was telling you about this, watched Magnificent Seven.
Oh yeah.
Which, the original, not the remake.
Not
The
the remake,
remake
yeah.
is pretty not good.
Yeah.
And he's one of the best parts of that movie.
He is.
There's a great part. They come like his intro scene is he's out back chopping wood to pay for his breakfast or whatever, and they're like looking for guys to hire onto their team. And he's like chopping wood, and they go, "Hey, we heard you were looking for a job." And he's like, "Yeah." And they're like, "And we hear you're broke." And he's like, "No, I'm doing this because I'm an eccentric billionaire." And he just like chops a piece of wood. But anyways, Charles Bronson's great. That guy, I'd have to see his acting chops for reals, but the production value of his movie doesn't look great.
No, it doesn't look so great. I'm gonna switch over to the chat
And
here.
it's hard to replace Charles Bronson.
We're offline, guys. Stream dead. What happened? You're back.
Oh,
Sorry, guys. Where did you
maybe
guys
it was
lose
when
us?
We were watching the trailer.
Oh, was it? Well, maybe one we were watching. Did you guys get to see the Charles Bronson knockoff? I'm going to bring up at least the
Probably
web browser
better.
so you can see what he looks
Might
like.
be better that you didn't.
Yeah. We'll post a link afterwards when we post this to Patreon. Let's go to a very quick break, and we'll come back and we'll do a little more. Sorry, let me get
Chatting.
Chatting.
Yeah.
Gents, it's fall, and you know what that means? You guessed it, pumpkin everything. Now, before you go and start calling me basic, let me tell you about Phoenix Shaving's new fragrance line called Atomic Pumpkin. Now, this isn't your run-of-the-mill seasonal pumpkin pie offering that everybody's doing. This is something a little more sophisticated and alluring. This aftershave and soap line stays within the classic bay rum tradition, but adds a fall spin. Because Atomic Pumpkin Bay Rum is steeped in classic pumpkin pie spices for up to 6 weeks, before the batch is complete. It's almost like a crazy whiskey or cigar or anything that's aged. I'm running out of, what else is aged? Only whiskey and cigars? Wine? I guess? I don't know, guys. I don't know. The point is, look at these ingredients. There's West Indian Bay, Moro blood orange, allspice, cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, and elemi resin. I don't know what that is, but it sounds festive. This is some fall masculine magic done right, guys. So if you're wanting to step up your grooming game this fall, maybe impress the lady in your life, make a great impression at work or school, then check out this limited edition line by Phoenix Shaving. Just go to gentlemanscofflaw.com/shave, and a portion of anything you buy with that link goes to help support this podcast. So you get to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You support the show you love, and you get to fight off ladies with a stick because you smell so damn good. Is that sexist? I don't know, maybe. But that's why I'm a scofflaw and a gentleman. All right, so that's gentlemanscofflaw.com/shave, and stop being a slave to the drugstore shave. And we're back, guys. Sorry.
The abrupt cuts.
You're going to figure out those abrupt cuts.
Just like a guillotine, you
Yeah.
know? Just like whoosh.
Well, do any of you guys have any experience with OBS? Because I'm trying to figure out how to do a fade. Because if we get this right, this will cut down on our editing, even on the podcast.
It's true.
When it's done, I don't have to add anything, which is my least favorite part about doing this.
Which is good, because Jordan is the one who does all the work on this podcast.
No,
I mean, no, seriously.
You do all the talking. I do all the back end.
That's the laziest part of it. I'm just like, oh, yeah.
Let's go to the chat here and see. We've got Alex Jones here for the first time.
Alex Jones.
Paul says, Alex Jones, you're not the Texas Hurricane, are you? I spent a week with Alex in Bilderberg.
Who knows?
Oh, man.
Who flipping knows?
I knew a friend who pumped a pumpkin once. I swear. Oh gosh. Freudian typing. No, I'm not. Rody Red here. So he's all right. Invited some friends from Steven Crowder's fan Discord. Cool.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. Friend of the family. I was going to bring up this, let me see here. Oh, pumpkin, by the way. Are you a fan of pumpkin spice stuff?
Within reason, yeah. I mean, obviously within reason and within the season.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like if somebody's burning a pumpkin spice candle, that's fine. Typically, I find like I like pumpkin pie now. I used to hate it. I think it was because I ate so much of it when I was a kid that I got sick. They are, but I think I ate so much of it at one point, like maybe around 2nd grade. I got terribly ill, and I swore it off for like 10 years or so. So I'm back on board the pumpkin pie train, but I have a roommate who his favorite thing is pumpkin, like his favorite flavor of anything is pumpkin. So his family sends him like ridiculous pumpkin things on his birthday typically. Really? And one year he got pumpkin flavored chewing gum, like extra, that like chewing gum, you know, like it was pumpkin. And he had like a spray that was like pumpkin spray for air freshener. And he used that spray all year round. And I was like, this is not okay, man. Yeah, it's freaking February, and I'm smelling pumpkins. This ain't right.
That is wrong. Right.
But yeah, anyways, my point is that I think we've reached a point as a society. I think that if there is going to be a civil war within the next decade, it will definitely be over pumpkin spice.
Yeah.
Because people seem to have chosen sides.
Well, I think the problem is like they've overdone pumpkin and everything, and like Douglas's his thing is really cool because it's like got a little bit of subtleness of pumpkin.
I was
spice.
Just saying to you that I'll probably try it because I think I'll wear it on the holidays or something.
I like that. I like the hint of it, the nod to it, not like the over pumpkin everything.
And I think it's admittedly so that mostly it's a lot, you know, the ladies like pumpkin spice. I mean, that's what I've found. at least
Sounds like
lately.
a generalization to me.
I mean, I'm an empiricist. I go off the empirical data and when but it does seem to be a thing with the ladies. So I would say if you if you want to impress a lady with the way that you smell, you should probably grab that aftershave / cologne.
I think that though pumpkin isn't an actual flavor, it's just there are spices that are commonly used in pumpkin,
Yes.
and it's like when you think of what a pumpkin
think it's a
tastes
flavor,
like,
though.
You think so?
Yeah, I think pumpkin has its own flavor, but I agree with you in that I think they spice it up to be better because it's a vegetable. Who wants to eat a vegetable in a pie?
Who wants to eat a vegetable? Let's go over to the live chat here.
Maybe it is a fruit though because it's off of
A German friend of mine made tutorials. Invited some friends from Steam Crowder. Hopefully, they'll watch a live stream. Pumpkin is terrible. Apple master race.
Apple in September is completely is the way to go. I mean, I remember my family used to pick apples in September because we're from Kansas. That was fun. It was a fun time.
And Alex Jones says, "Bada bing, bada boom, dude. You need to take over those commercials." Paul says, "Vanilla smell, ladies love it. Thank me later."
Huh.
Hell, I might start bathing in pumpkin then.
I feel like vanilla is more of like a year-round thing. It's safe. That's safe. I mean, I would say like maybe getting into December vanilla. I don't know. Vanilla just seems like a year-round kind of deal.
Vanilla is really good in pipe tobacco.
This is true.
It makes for a good room note.
Vanilla and rum.
Let's go over to listeners here. Where is everybody joining us from today? I'd like to know. So we know we have someone in the UK, someone from Rhode Island. I think I saw.
Ooh, wow! Look at you.
We're in California. It's always interesting to see where people are.
And what's the
joining us
weather
from.
like where you are? It seems like things are cooling down all across the country. Like seems like the fall weather is kicking in, you know.
My AC went out in the car.
Oh, bummer.
And it's just
always
like being
fun.
in a greenhouse, no matter how cool the weather is.
That's why you just got to embrace it and just roll your windows down.
That's what I do, but then stuff starts blowing out of my car.
That's true, and it also gets your hair all up in a frenzy. You know, I don't know. I was a big fan of rolling my windows down just all the time. Like, I was like, whatever, I love it. And now I feel like I'm definitely feeling that California quality air. Backlash.
It's really bad right now.
Yeah.
Let's go to the chat here. It says, okay, so Rhode Island, Sacramento, 70 and sunny. West Texas. Hey, Steve Randall. Hey, David Savine, UK, much colder.
Nice.
Eric Butler says, the great state of Georgia, hotter than 400 hells.
Georgia is tough in the late summer. New York, too. I guess technically we're in fall, though. It's officially fall.
Yeah, just last week, I think, right?
Yeah. How do you feel about, here's a question, how do you feel about pumpkin beer?
I actually think it's okay.
Yeah, me too.
I like that KBC pumpkin beer.
I was just going to say, I think I tried a Sam Adams pumpkin and KBC, and I like the KBC better.
We had Wops Hops on here a while ago. He said that pumpkin was on its way out for beer.
Maybe. Because I could see that being the case, because typically with craft beers, I think people who specialize in beer are typically snobs about it.
Yeah.
Not to offend anybody who specializes in beer, but they're typically a little bit more hipster.
Yeah.
And hipsters kind of hate the whole pumpkin trend, I feel like.
Yeah, because they started it, I bet. And then it became mainstream. And
now it's like a basic thing.
Yeah.
So, but I will say once I remember good friend John Sipity, who was on the show a while back, he and I were going on a late night excursion through a liquor store trying to find something to wet our whistle with. And we found a marked down bottle of Smirnoff pecan pie flavored vodka.
Really?
And it was probably like, I want to say this was around like February or March. So this thing had been marked down for a while. Like it was meant for the holidays and nobody wanted it. It was the Island of Misfit booze.
You can get some good deals that way if you buy seasonal stuff
That's
afterwards.
true, but the question is, do you really want pecan-flavored vodka?
Alex Jones says Sam Adams Oktoberfest. I agree. That is a good one. I like that one a lot.
I'll have to give that one another swig.
Paul says UK has been hot recently, too. It's all that global warming.
Yep. Climate change, global warming, synonymous, right?
It's all happening, people, and it's all
Just
our
remember,
fault.
But it's all going to a good cause. We got to kill all those polar bears because they're the only bear that will stalk a human being until they get you.
And those grizzly bears.
Grizzly bears, I can live with grizzlies.
I'm fine with killing
You gotta-
sharks, lions,
Yeah.
bears. I know people get all up in arms about that, but I'm like,
Yeah,
if they're
yeah.
gonna eat me, get
Sure.
rid of them.
Sure, I'm all for I'm all for keeping the ecosystem in check. But I think when you start to get a little bit too sentimental about these things, when you start using them to sell Coca-Cola, it's a bit much.
Yeah, I saw. I think it was on Twitter. There's some guy that's a former football player that's really into hunting, former NFL guy, and he posted. I guess he was on the trail, and they were like stalked by a grizzly bear at one point. It was coming right at him, and he shot him. And he posted a picture with the bear.
Did he kill it?
He killed it.
That's
yeah.
skill right there.
And it's terrifying.
It's hard to kill a grizzly bear.
And people were all like, "Oh, you terrible! That's not yours to take, you terrible person!" Like they were getting all mad. Like this makes me sick. You should be killed.
Would you
and
say
they're calling
the
for his
same?
head.
Would you say the same thing to the grizzly bear if it got him? I don't know.
I don't know. That's the thing. It's like the gorilla thing a few years ago. I'm like,
Right.
take out the thing.
What was that thing? Hombre, not hombre.
Harambe.
Harambe. No, my attitude with grizzly bears is they are, like monstrous. You know, like if you encounter a grizzly bear, I think you should be well within your rights to defend yourself against the grizzly because those things, let me just put it this way. It is a challenge from what I hear. I've never faced off against a grizzly bear myself, but it's a challenge to kill those things even if you have a high-powered rifle.
Yeah.
Like you have to place the shot correctly.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's just going to piss it off and you're dead. So, yeah.
Alex is saying right here, it's an NHL guy. He said the paw was enormous. Yeah, the paw was like,
oh yeah,
it looked like a giant, like, it was bigger than anybody's head.
It's oh man. And the crazy thing is that I brush up on, every year I brush up on what you're supposed to do with mountain lions, black bears and grizzly bears. And
just to stay current in the
I always get it mixed up. I always get because you're supposed to do something different with each of them. With black bears, I believe you have the capacity to fight back. Like you'll have a chance if you fight back, and you're not supposed to climb trees around black bears because they'll just follow you.
Yeah,
and then
but I hear that black bears aren't super aggressive. They're kind of more they're
will,
more like foragers, like raccoon, like giant raccoons.
But I think the point is that if they feel threatened. Like, I don't think they're going to come after you necessarily in a predatory sense unless they mistake. I don't know. We can't get inside the bear's head, Jordan. But, like, let's say you get into the vicinity of its cubs, it'll probably come after you pretty hard.
Yeah.
And that's where you'll have to defend yourself. With grizzly bears, though, I think the one way that I think there are instances where you can fight back, and that's like basically it's a crapshoot. But most of the time, I think you're just supposed to play dead, which is terrifying because they'll just nibble on you.
And I think from what I understand, the reasoning is
especially if you're wearing pumpkin spice cologne.
Yeah, exactly. Anything scented, bears are attracted to. But if you, I feel like the playing dead thing. It's not like you're like on your back and dead. They say it basically to be face down on the ground so that it can't get to your vital organs.
Yeah, right. But
so
still,
you're basically just trying to cover your intestines from being ripped out. Have any of you guys encountered a bear? Let's look at the chat here.
Any Leo DiCaprios out there?
Eric says anything under a 9mm won't even phase a grizzly.
Yeah.
It says a grizzly eats 40 caribou cubs each season.
Damn.
Holy crap. We're about to go camping, and shout out to Johnny Boy, by the way. Oh, let me grab this little birthday gift.
Jordan's just birthday gift from you. Oh yeah, right.
I'll cut over here. He gave me this.
Oh, you got a
Trail
cover
boss.
for it.
Yeah, little trail boss to go camping with. So we're going camping. Probably we're going to Buckhorn in Angeles Forest this week.
Nice.
And I was looking up. Apparently, you need to have bear stuff. Be bear ready.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was looking into bear canisters, and I'd never seen them before. And I
yeah.
found a video of a black bear trying to get into one, and it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
It's pretty hilarious. Like the thing is just so frustrated.
Yeah. I don't want to bring it up, but I don't want to ruin the stream again. But it's
Don't
like
ruin the
it's
stream.
rolling around all over the in the grass,
Yeah.
trying every
Yeah.
single angle, and just like eventually just gives up and leaves.
Yeah.
So
I want to know also. I think I'm shaking the camera. I want to know, like, who was filming that. Like, I think it almost looked like somebody was filming it from their tent.
Yeah, I think it was from their tent.
That
A
would
bunch of people in the
be-
comments were like, "That's why you should put your bear canister 100 yards from your tent, not that close."
Yeah, you freaking moron. No, I mean, I think, yeah, it's good to brush up on that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
'cause-
if you Google or YouTube bear canister, or bear trying to get in a canister, you could watch that video. There's only one of them. It's really funny that I found anyway. Let's go over to the chat here and see what they're saying. Sorry, I'm getting my switcheroo all mixed up. This is all still new to me. Paul says, assuming it's a speciophobic bastards, and you shot it when it was unarmed.
in the back.
Yeah. And just Adam says, does Jordan speak French? Yes, I do. My mother is French Canadian, and I grew up in Quebec, so I didn't have a choice.
Quebecois.
Quebecois. I corrected on our good friends over at Country Squire Radio. We've had John David on the show before. They were talking about poutine in one episode, and they got it all wrong.
They say Putin.
They said, I forget what they called it. They
I want
called it poutine,
now.
they were calling it Canadian, and they had the ingredients wrong. It was terrible.
That really makes me want poutine. I was on a kick there for a while. There's a place called Smokes Poutine in Hollywood, and it's in like the worst part of Hollywood. It's like, well, not like danger wise, but like parking wise.
Yeah.
So like you basically have to either roll the dice and you might not actually get to go, or you just take an Uber. But they have really good. I mean, it's like meat and gravy on top of fried potatoes.
Yeah.
Which is just
it's
exactly my jam.
here's
But also
the-
cheese curds.
Yeah, you need to get the cheese curds because people always put cheese on fries and gravy, and they're like, it's poutine. It's not. It has to be the curds are really important. And if you're in Quebec, usually you get the most famous one you get is probably like at a place called La Belle Province, which is like a chain of hot dog joints. But they're like the fries where you can still have the potato peel on them because they just
Yeah.
put them through the slicer and
Yeah.
then make them. And then they have a very specific type of gravy, which I've only had in Quebec.
I recently watched one of the. I may have talked about this already, but I'll just do a quick overview. I watched one of Bourdain's excursions into Canada recently, and I was just like, damn, like these people know how to eat.
Yeah.
Like, it was some good stuff, but it was also stuff where you were sort of like, wait, are you going to make it to 40 if you keep this up? Like, I mean, but I think he was going to Quebec or Quebec. But anyways, it was like some crazy good, looked like some crazy good stuff. Like, I would have been right at home.
I'm going to cut over to the chat here. We've got Paul. He says axe wielding would be an epic screenshot for a meme. That's true. So if you guys want to turn that into a meme, go ahead and do that. It's just Adam says, well, in that case, he says, j'adore le podcast. J'écoute aussi ton frère du temps en temps. Puis maudite Que ton ami a une voix basse. He's saying that I love the podcast and I listen to your brother from time to time, and your co-host has a damn low voice.
Well, it's I am as God made me, as they say.
Somebody Razor Wire Reviews here says Ricky grew a hell of a beard, which he's referring to a short film I made years ago. That was a parody of Rocky called
That's
Ricky.
funny.
On my YouTube channel, which is still there if you guys want to go back and watch it. All that stuff is still around. What else was there here? There's another thing I saw on here. Oh, do you like it in Cali? Alex says.
Yeah.
You like it in Cali?
Yeah, I mean, California's here's the thing about California. I like it because of the varying, what's the word that I'm looking for?
It's not
terrain.
seasons.
Well, yeah, definitely not the seasons. But the fact that you have the beach, the mountains, and the desert so close to you is, for an outdoorsman, is great. But the economy here sucks. It's very expensive. And sometimes the people can be a little tedious to try to understand, to be completely honest with you. But, I guess the younger side of myself likes what's happening, to be in the place where things are happening.
Where things are going on.
Yeah. I also like
in the room where it happens.
I like the history of LA a lot. Like, I like to explore LA and kind of think about, what it would have been like here in the 1940s and stuff.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That'd be cool. I wonder, though I hear about stuff in the 1940s in LA, and you realize, LA was always just as seedy, no matter what time period it was.
I would definitely say I think that's true. It's it was always kind of there were hangovers of the Wild West out here. Yeah. As far as rules and people getting away with stuff. I just would have loved to have been around when it was just developing as far as architecture and all that stuff.
Well, I didn't realize too that I was listening to a podcast how much of the West, towns in the West were basically settled by brothels building up a business first and the town building up around the brothel.
That sounds about right. I mean, it's
during the gold rush.
Yeah, oldest profession.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you think that's really the oldest profession?
I think it's referred to that way because our biological imperative is one of the strongest driving factors, and that maybe if somebody capitalized that, starting out, then that would have been the first. I don't know. I mean, what you want me to say? Was there a guy out there making cheese before?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it'd be. I feel like you'd Here's the thing. I feel like if you're in that profession, you've got to be pretty desperate to get to a point where you're like, I'm going to join this profession. So if that's your first profession,
yeah,
there's not a lot of brainstorming that happened before jumping right to that.
There's either, you're right. There's either a point of desperation or a lack of a moral compass.
Go over to the chat here. Paul says, "Je m'appelle Paul." That's very good French. You can speak French.
Je ne sais pas.
Je ne sais pas. One thing that my French isn't very strong in reading French. When I go back to read French, it's harder for me to read than listen to
You
French.
kind of sounded like the dad from Home Alone there when he was talking on the phone trying to he's trying to speak French, and then eventually he's just like, I'm looking for my son. Do you know where he is? He's talking to some Parisian.
Est-ce qu'il y a quelqu'un qui parle anglais là?
Parle anglais là.
My interesting fact, my dad was an extra in that movie Snake Eyes, the Brian De Palma film that he didn't
horrible movie.
fully direct. And he sat next to, what's his face? What's his nuts?
What was his name? I forgot that was the callback.
John Hurd.
John Hurd, yeah.
John Hurd.
Yeah. Who died recently.
Yeah, and he sat beside him for days at a time in that whole boxing sequence.
Because he was like a co-star.
Yeah, and he said my family really loves you in Home Alone. We always quote that line, "Est-ce qu'il y a quelqu'un?" And he did the line for him, and he didn't know why it was funny. I think he just thought he was speaking French.
Wow, that's funny. I mean, actors are weird people, man.
I know.
I don't mean to get on their case too often.
He said he was very nice, and they talked all
Oh
day
yeah,
and stuff.
yeah,
It's
absolutely. It's just
didn't
sometimes
get that.
sometimes I do think like they don't really even know what like like it's funny, It's like they're so talented they don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But yeah.
Paul says English people speaking French say it once in English. If they don't understand, try shouting.
That's true.
It's true. Alex Jones says great actor. He is a great actor.
Great actor, yeah. He had a great arc in The Sopranos that was really good.
I actually never saw The Sopranos. That's one thing that I missed. I should probably go back and watch.
Yeah, I mean it's well, I mean yeah, for sure. I mean it's a milestone in television. Like that's where cinema and television kind of, and also just like character work. I think you could probably find it maybe a little earlier in NYPD Blue or something like that, but The Sopranos is a very interesting show for sure.
My favorite thing was the Mad TV sketch, The Sopranos cut for primetime.
I don't know if I. Oh, wait a minute! I think I did see that at one point.
And it's really funny because it's always like they're showing stuff and they're like, "Why don't you keep fricking my butt?" And they cut away to things. They keep cutting off like all the swear words, and at one point it's just all like these quick little. You got the gobbledygook.
I mean the what's the the gabagool.
The gabagool.
I remember. I'm trying to think. There was a television cast of Die Hard 2 where they did some terrible things to John McClane's voice. I'm pretty sure the guy who was dubbing him was black, and it was just like Bruce Willis running around and just having this like all of a sudden he would have these like flare-ups of like almost like Samuel L. Jackson talking, which is ironic because he was in the third movie. But anyways, it sometimes it just doesn't work on primetime.
It just doesn't work. So we got on the chat, we've got shouting is an excellent translator. They speak other people's words all day. They have no thought of their own. I don't know what that's referring to, but I've
maybe the French.
He says I've done it to Mexicans a million times. They've always understood. I think that's just your interpretation.
Yeah.
Some French here I learned. Good moaning. I was just working past. I can't read that. Shack. Well, we shall speak Spock later.
Oh wow, this is
joking around. I don't.
This is almost worse than your French.
This is almost worse than my French. I'm terrible at reading things on the fry.
On the fry.
Yeah, there's also this other little news story that I found here. Let me pull it up here. I don't know if you guys can see it. Basically, woman forced to cancel dream trip to New York after accidentally telling the U.S. she's a terrorist.
My goodness.
Now, the story here was, I guess when you're coming in from certain countries, you got to check off certain boxes.
Yeah.
And basically, she checked off whatever the box is, indicating that she would be a terrorist.
Do we have a picture of the box that she checked
see if I
off?
could pull
I'm
it
sure
up
they.
here.
I think a coworker was showing me this.
Yeah, there's no picture on here. I mean, she's clearly not a terrorist. It was just an unfortunate.
Well, that kind of I mean that still, pretty big screw up.
I actually had a thing like that in a job interview at Walmart as a teenager.
Wow.
Where they asked me to check off, like I was answering stuff, and there was a question that it was like, like one of those things where it's like yes, no, maybe, like there's like a scale or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the question was something like, is it okay to get high on the job or something? And I was like reading it quickly and checked like the wrong box.
Oh, you were like, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't, and then you like parentheses, I don't know, I'm kind of stoned right now.
Yeah. And they took in my thing. And then like 15 minutes later, they called me in like you think it's okay to...
Let's explore your worldview here.
Like, oh no,
you're like, I'm libertarian.
Yeah, No, it's so I could see how that could happen if you're filling out a form quickly.
I'm gonna take a moment to do a restroom review.
All right,
really fast.
All right, you know what? Let's go to a quick break and then we'll be back.
There we go.
Scofflaws. This month we're announcing our new Gentleman Scofflaw Book Club. But before then, I want to take a minute to tell you about Audible's audiobook service. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Another Audible podcast ad? Why does everyone who podcasts promote Audible? The truth is I felt the same way. And before I started using Audible myself, I thought, audiobooks, isn't that cheating? I mean, that's not real reading, right? So I smugly stuck to my convictions and I just didn't read anything. Ouch. Then about a year and a half ago, I started a free trial. Now this is real, I'm not making this up. And I have listened to 16 books this past year. Basically a book every month, sometimes a little more. Yeah, I loved it that much. And I keep this habit going now and listen to books about self-improvement that have helped me grow and learn tremendously. And, audio books and through Audible, make it convenient. I listen to them when rucking or, washing the car or, running errands around town, driving, and I've never read so many books in such a short period. And that's why we are launching the Gentleman Scofflaw Book Club. For you other gents out there that care about making changes in your own life and in the lives of others, we're going to listen to a book a month together and discuss them on our Facebook group. So this month we're reading Jon Acuff's Finish, which is an amazing read. It just shatters all the ideas you have about accomplishing life goals. And Jon Acuff is a best-selling author, and he is absolutely hilarious, funny in a real, stand-up comic sort of way, not in an academic author trying to be funny sort of way. So if you want to improve your own goals and want to join in on the conversation, go to audibletrial.com/gentscofflaw and download your free copy of Finish by Jon Acuff. Using that link, of course, helps save you money, but it also helps support our podcast. That's audibletrial.com/gentscofflaw and join the ranks of elite readers. That sounded pretentious. Just join because it's fun and it's good for you. audibletrial.com/gentscofflaw.
And we're back.
I just got a text from my dad that was referring to a milk stout that he has on ice for the next time I'm in town.
Really?
It's called Tough Kitty
Milk
Stout. Yeah, and it's from Boulevard Brewery, which is a brewery that was started in 1987 that I actually toured. I think I may have talked about it a little bit before.
You toured it in 1987?
Yeah, 2 years before I was born. It was amazing. I was just a star. I was a little bout of pixie dust. No, but I went there this last summer with my brother-in-law and my dad, and it was fantastic. It's one of the older breweries in the United States, and we talked about how the whole reason that the United States is behind in its beer kind of culture is because of Prohibition.
That makes sense.
I mean, we're a young
Prohibition
country
was a
to begin
stupid
with.
law.
Prohibition was so dumb. It was. I mean, I'm one to give the benefit of the doubt to things, but that was very much a fervor that should never have happened.
Interestingly enough, the term from our podcast title is from
Thank
Prohibition.
God we weren't born during Prohibition. Although if we were born during Prohibition, we probably would have been drinking, because I think it ended within 10 or 15 years.
I don't know. We've got Eric Butler says, listen to Dan Carlin on YouTube for history, guys.
Oh, hardcore history, right?
Yeah.
That, you know what? I do need to check out Dan Carlin, and I also need to check out there's a history, maybe I don't think it's the same guy, but there's a history podcast that this guy does deep dives on certain eras and stuff. He does 4 hours on one thing, and he did one called The Wrath of the Khans, and it's all about Genghis Khan or Genghis Khan, depending on where you come from. But it's all about the Khans.
I've never heard that.
I've heard Genghis. I bet you, our buddy in the UK, I bet you people say Genghis Khan over there, right? Prove me right.
Let us know if that's
in
true
real
thing.
time.
Genghis Khan. That sounds ridiculous.
He's just playing Jenga. It's like he was the one who came up with Jenga to like calm his murderous rage. He would sit there and pull blocks out.
That's how he came up with the wall.
Wait,
I don't know. I'm joking.
we're not talking about our current president. No, I'm kidding.
Oh man. Oh, you know what time it is? Oh, and the problem is I've got this on my phone. I don't have it loaded on my computer. We're going to announce the winner of the giveaway of this month's giveaway, and then we're going to give away another thing on this podcast. So the winner of this month's giveaway is.
Drum roll.
Hold on. I need to.
Shaking the cameras, shaking the cameras, shaking the cameras.
I know the cameras.
We need an actual drum for this.
I know we used to have a recording of it.
Or a sound effect.
Sorry, guys. I should have ordered.
You said you remembered the name, didn't you?
I thought I did.
At the beginning?
All right, let me pull it up here. I had it in my show notes, but then my show notes don't work on this computer right now. All right. The winner of the giveaway is ZMay528.
Wonder if that's his Christian name.
Probably. Let's go over to the chat here. What are people saying? So ZMay 528, you're getting the Alfin giveaway, and we're gonna give away another one in just a sec. Let me just look more at a couple of these comments. Says nobody says. Paul says, "Nah, people are dumb over here. I know who he is." Alex says, "I know that stuff. They keep tracking all those history shows out of my cable package." He says, comedian Owen Benjamin pronounced it Genghis, and he was a history major.
Big Bear.
And Brian the Hickey says, "What's up?" I think Brian the Hickey's a little late to the party.
It's Saturday. Maybe sleeping one off from last night.
All right, let me check here. How many people do we have right now? Okay, so I want you to pick me a number between 1 and 20.
7.
7. All right. Let me look here. Between 1 and 7.
4.
All right. Alex Jones, you are getting. Alex Jones.
Going to get us kicked off Twitter.
You are getting a Phoenix Shaving aftershave and cologne. So if you could send me an email at gentlemanscofflaw@gmail.com or go to the website and hit contact. There's a form there. And just send me your mailing address. We'll get that out to you this week. We had a lot of other giveaways that actually went out this week. Some that were a little late that were from last season. But those went out this week. So people who won past ones, you should have gotten them by now. If you haven't, let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to take a little break. We're at the hour mark here, and we've got a day to fill with drinking beer and smoking pipes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you guys.
Reviewing some movies, too.
Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll get this more sorted out next time. But we appreciate you bearing with us.
It's a work in progress. I mean, like, given where we were, what we saw that picture from last year, right? And that was like, we were like, what, with a laptop outside?
Yeah.
Trying to fit ourselves into one little webcam.
That was pretty bad.
We're practically Joe Rogan now.
Practically.
Just need to shave our heads.
We just need to shave our heads and smoke a lot of pot, and then we'll be ready to go.
Yeah. You smoke pot, I'll roll jiu-jitsu. We'll be Joe Rogan. Together.
All right, Donovan, you are a gentleman in the Scofflaw, my friend.
Thank you, Jordan. You are a gentleman in the Scofflaw as well, and happy birthday to you.
Thank you, and you too. And all of you listeners, thank you for joining us. You are both gentlemen in Scofflaws, and you guys have a great week.
This has been the Gentleman's Scofflaw podcast. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Subscribe on iTunes or your favorite podcatcher. Visit us on the interwebs at gentlemanscofflaw.com.
Captain says, his ice on the river, we ain't getting home if we don't break through. So damn cold, I can't help but shiver. Rise and shine, we got work to do. Hey!